Fci.Mckeam, the dream. Y'all was down there with Gene Gotti, Supreme, Dapper Dan, Ronnie Bump, Tamir, Mr. I was down there with Gambino. It was a lot of heck of a soldiers down there at that time. But Genie was the one that you really seen that stood out because Genie was extremely quiet, and you can tell when he came around. A lot of people from New York and upstate New York, and a lot of the mafia guys and Italians gave him utmost respect. You can tell his presence was known. He never had any problems on the compound. He was a smooth character. He was laid back, but when he spoke with authority. He spoke with wisdom. He spoke with understanding, and he lived the way he did his time. So I know he had to be a solid guy on the street because the way Genie did his time inside the joint at Fci.Mckeam, he also did it on the street. So I know the level he was on. When you spoke with him, he spoke with like confidence. So one time I had a conversation with a couple of Italian guys, and the difference between them and African American guys that's in the game is that if you're Italian, it's off limits that you would try to date my wife or my girlfriend or one of my sisters while I'm incarcerated or cross me. And the African American community, we gonna cross each other. Soon you get locked up, your homeboy, your brother, your cousin, your friend, your rollie gonna be over there trying to talk to your baby mama or your wife. But the mob don't do that. And also, you never see a guy that's an Italian that was in the mob that's solid go to prison and he be broke. No, he gonna be looked out for. They're gonna make sure they put money on the books. So whatever money Genie basically was bringing in when he was on the streets, he's still gonna get a percentage of that money from the new crew. See, we don't do that. If I was making $1 million on the street with my crew, when I go to jail, I'm gonna be at $0. There's gonna be some people who look out. But when you're dealing with people like that, you can see how smooth and how controlled and organized they are because they got extreme discipline. And that one thing I learned from watching the Italians when I was locked up, like uh, Skinny Joey's, Mr. Gambino, son, Gene Gotti, etc. These guys move with real smoothness. Even when I was locked up with Mr. Polizia, he was the drug lord for the Pizza Connection. He was down at FCI Milan with me. Real laid guy. We had great conversations. And when he left, he also gave me information. But he ended up dying before I came home. But he gave me information. Me and him had good conversation. We would walk the track. He was well spoken, highly educated, and a man's man. And you don't find that nowadays because in our era, if you get into a situation, you get hemmed up alone. You don't sit there and waste time. You don't play games with the government. You don't try to deceive them. And other people's names shouldn't come up inside your case. Now, just saying if I got pulled over and I got caught, nobody else involved in that crime, or you took your weight, you go to prison. Nowadays, these guys will get pulled over, will get hemmed up, and other people's names come up inside their case because it considered dry snitching, and that's what people do nowadays. You know, if you caught by yourself, it probably be your case. But when you get hemmed up, and then other people start getting involved in your case unknowingly, who never had any involvement with you on that crime you actually committed at that time, that is dry snitching. And Genie told me that. So when it was time for him to go to jail, he went to jail. The case stopped with him. The case shouldn't go on and on and on, and other names come up. And also, once you go to jail, your people supposed to look out for you. That's the motto of the mob. See, when you in there with them guys, you don't know who rich and you don't know who poor. You don't know who was an addict and who wasn't. Because some of them guys was addicts on the street, but they were solid in what they did, and they still getting taken care of. And they become a family. So a lot of things I learned from Genie, just how to do the time, mind your own business, and stay out of the way. So I'm gonna give a big shout out to Mr. Genie Gotti. I hope he's doing good, and I know he's out right now, and I hope everything's okay. Like I said, I did maybe close to 7 or 8 years with Genie. I can't remember, but I ended up doing 18 and a half years in the federal system. I was down there, like I said, with Supreme, Dapper Dan, Ronnie Bump, Tay Meir, uh, Smoothie. It was so many hell of a guys there at that time, man, that it was an awesome call. You seen a lot of guys that were powerful people in their cities and in their states. So it was a beautiful thing, man, to do time with real stand-up people. But shout out to you, Mr. Genie Gotti, and I wish you the best in life. Os.